Hey
Awesome.
everyone, here's Minion, Kathy, and Mr. Greg Russell, the Tech Jedi. Today is a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to
Challenging.
adapt on the fly. Mr. Russell here is going to talk about some major technology changes in Facebook that actually affected this meeting and meetings in the past and probably meetings in the future. But hopefully everything will get worked out. And according to Mr. Russell, a lot of this has to do with some of Facebook's own artificial intelligence um, to hammer down on external softwares that are utilized for marketing inside of Facebook. So with that said, Mr. Tech Jada, take it away, please.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited to share with you some things that are going on, things you need to be aware of. We had planned a specific type of training, and because of the tech challenges, we're going to alter it to inform you about what's really going on with technology and specifically Facebook. So I am a reseller of and work with a lot of people who use Facebook for marketing. And there are some software out there that will allow you to automate some of this marketing that you do on Facebook to kind of speed up. And if at any time in the software, if you would do it too fast, meaning you would do it at a speed that you could, was too fast for a human, in the past, they could catch that and shut you down. Also, if you sent the exact same message over and over and over, they would shut you down. So these softwares that came out over the past 2 years was automating, but doing it at a rate where it would typically be under Facebook's radar. So for example, it would send out messages at the same rate that you would send them out. And they would alternate different versions of it. So it looked like you were writing the message yourself. And basically you could set up most of the software to work and run while you did something else. It would kind of just sit on your computer, send out messages, and you could go walk the dog, go for a workout, take a shower. You could just do something else, and it would automate you being at your computer, sending out messages while you technically weren't at your computer sending out messages. And for most of the part, that's how a lot of them worked. But we all know that AI came around last November. Wow, it's almost been a year already. And it came out in November, and it started getting really, really popular at the beginning of this year. And we're not the only ones who are taking advantage of AI. Facebook has rolled out their own AI that is basically able to find and determine if people are using that software or any software. So my experience has been from multiple softwares. Any type of software that has been automating Facebook posting has been affected. And how it's affecting it is that it is basically what they call soft blocking the users. It'll put a temporary hold on your Facebook account for a few hours to a few days, depending on how many times it's catching you. So when it first catches you, it may shut you down for 2 to 3 hours, and it'll tell you, hey, you're using Facebook too much inappropriately. Please slow down your thing, and it'll just limit your usage to Facebook. And if you take this warning and you slow down, it's fine. But if you keep doing it, then they make the hold time longer. And they'll do that for a few times, and then eventually they will shut your account down. But most people who are using the software get the message. The challenge that I found is that it's been widespread among multiple software. So it's like everything. And one of these companies who has a really good relationship with Facebook says that they know that they have launched their own AI software, and that is really, really aggressive. So when it comes to marketing on Facebook in any type of capacity where you're using some automation software to help you, you may be challenged right now. So even the way I'm using it, because I am currently using it, and I am under the radar right now, I'm only sending 10 messages automated every single day, just 10. Which for a lot of times, we're kind of used to big numbers, right? You got your email program. It can send out hundreds to 1,000 emails at a push of a button. People in YouTube channels get millions of followers. We're all used to these big numbers. But the truth is that I found is that even with low numbers, even with just 10, if you're reaching out to the right 10 people, it can be very, very effective. So in addition to that, what I've been doing is leaning less on the automation and leaning more on my own time on Facebook, doing personal reach out and commenting and replying back to, because when you get in this game, not only are you reaching out to people, but other people are reaching out to you. And sometimes there can be a mutual benefit for that connection. So you have to be open to it. And some are just straight blade up outrageous pitches that don't that don't resonate with you. We all get those. Hopefully you don't get a lot of them all the time, but that's just a part of the game. So reality, guys, that's what's going on with Facebook. That's what I've been seeing. That's what I've been experiencing. And so I don't know if you guys had any questions. I can talk more about the actual strategy, but I want to just share what's really going on. And not only on Facebook, but now we're noticing software even outside of messaging, where it comes to doing things in groups, giving us challenges as well.
Greg, are you seeing this in other platforms also? So Instagram or anything like that? I mean, I know that that some of the technology you're using doesn't necessarily use the other platforms, but like today, we're not able to live stream into either Facebook or YouTube. So, obviously there are changes happening kind of across the board at this moment.
I haven't, but I focus a lot of my marketing on Facebook, particularly because I know that's where my ideal prospect hangs out and I get a lot of response. So the other thing for me personally, I've been Instagram challenged because you have to, well, you don't have to, but a lot of Instagram is done on the phone, right? It's done on the phone. And I do a lot of my work on the desktop. And I'm really, really good at knowing where everything is on the desktop, multiple screens, the whole 9 yards. But then when it comes to the phone, it's kind of like, okay, where do I get to this? Where do I get to that? And so I'm just not as blessed on the phone as I am on my desktop. So I don't have a really good marketing. I'm not doing a lot of marketing on Instagram.
I got you.
So I wouldn't know.
I'm glad that you kind of said that about you do well on the desktop, not your phone. Because I find with some things, I do better on the desktop. With other things, I do better on the phone. For instance, posting to Facebook, right? I do a lot of posting, and when I want to do my scheduled posting, it's easier for me to do that from the desktop. However, when I want to post something out to other groups, it is far easier to do that from my phone. And it's very frustrating to me. I always say I'm not the technology girl, right? I get confused with how to do things because you do it on one so differently than the other. So, it always makes me feel a little bit better about my technology ability when I hear people like you, the Jedi Master of technology, say I do better on this methodology than another. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're more than welcome. That's a little secret.
Same for me.
I get teased in my house because my wife is a master on the phone. She does everything on the phone. She can do. I'm like, how do you do that on the phone? You just do it. Press this, pull this, and she's off to the races. So then, you know, if in the event that I'm asked how do you do something and it's on the phone and I say I don't know, she's like, how are you gonna be called the tech Jedi? You don't know how to do this on the phone. I'm like, man, come on. Oh man. So yeah, I get teased because I'm not the Jedi on the phone, but we're not gonna tell nobody that. We're gonna keep this
Do,
right here in this group.
do you ask your daughter for help on the phone?
Oh, she's good too, man.
Yeah.
She's good. I got to be careful because she'll do things, you know, she'll set it up and then next thing you know, I got stuff on my face that I can't get off. And so I got to be careful. She thinks it's funny. And it is funny. And it's funny because those type of things are very entertaining. And I remember, and I did a show about this. I remember sometimes you just got to sit down and have some fun with the phone because it can do so much.
Right.
And you see people do silly things like that, like put the filters on, um, and as far as you know, adults who are using it for business purposes, like why would this be here? What does this have to do with? But I will tell you, one night I sat around and played with the different ones, turned myself into a wizard. It was just entertaining. I had a good time.
It's amazing how much time learning how to do all that stuff takes.
Yeah.
And I think well, recently I have been trying to stay off of the social media and my phone. I'm not going to say totally because I still do what I need to do and I still enjoy looking at it, but I've definitely been trying to limit my time. Limit my time.
Yeah, sometimes if you're on it a lot, or even if you're using it for business, sometimes you need to take a break. And for me, a break is getting away from the computer. So last night I went to a high school football game. It was playoffs. The team I was rooting for won, so it was a good evening.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Minion,
Minion,
do you have a
you were
question?
trying to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was I have the same issue because I like screens. Okay, and for me to sit here and try to use a spreadsheet on my phone is just absolute hell. I, I, I'm not a huge person, but I got fat fingers. Okay, and trying to zoom out so I can see something, then scroll. I'm like, no, man, just let me wait till I get home in front of a computer where I have my screens, and I have 3 screens. So I'm like looking at this one, clicking on, oh, okay, cool. I'm watching and I'm training. I'm like, I can't do that on my phone. And then I use Instagram a lot for, say, my boxing gym. Well, a lot of times because of phone storage space, we're always recording videos and photos. Well, I can keep them on my phone. I need to upload them to Google Drive or to Dropbox, then turn around and download them again when I need to edit to post. It just doesn't work good from the phone. I prefer to do it on the computer where I can be very detailed. You know, if I'm trying to cut somebody out or cut something out or block something, it's just, for example, I can't use Filmora from my phone. I can only use Filmora on my computer. Okay. If I want to edit a video, I personally use InShot on my Android phone. You see where I'm going? I'm like, okay. And then if I try to, and you probably know that when you're on the Instagram on the computer, you almost have only like 5% of the options that you have on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that right there makes it a hassle. Now, I will say this, because of some of the stuff that I do business wise and online, many times I will go somewhere and purposely not take my computer to force myself to try and do it from the phone.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
saying, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. And I also think it's, you know, sometimes it's a generation thing. Like, so my mom, when she gets something, she always had an instruction manual and it would, you know, the instruction manual would walk you how to through everything. And pretty much my generation too, we got stuff, we had instructions, right? But now with these apps, they're not going, if they were to create an instruction manual for the apps and software, time it would be printed, if they were going to print it or even set up in a PDF, by the time it got to the people, there would be an update or something that would change to make that document ineffective. Not only that, but the companies are smart enough to know that if they put it out, that someone's going to play with it enough to figure it out and create a YouTube video on how to do it. And so now the users are creating the training because they want views on YouTube and all the other stuff. So they don't even have to create their own training manual. They'll just put it out. Yeah, go figure it
Right.
out.
Right. You
There's
know
a
what
new
drives me crazy about that is, and because I'll ask Minu a question, he'll be like, Kathy, try YouTubing that. So I've gotten better about trying that first. What drives me nuts is the directions are there, even if they're very current, because I've gotten to the point where I know I have to look for something that's the most current. Even still, oftentimes things are, you know, it seems like it should be minusculely different, but oftentimes I find that it's frustratingly enough different that I have a very hard time. Something that should take me maybe 5 minutes, because I'm not the technology person, can take me almost an hour. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying with that. Things are changing at light speed at this point with the technology.
and I'll tell you what, now I've been told many times that I'm very good at creating training videos. And um and I
You
don't have
are.
a lot of them on YouTube, but a lot of them, you know, if I'm tech training on a coaches program that we have, and I'm teaching the tech, whatever tech they want us to teach on, I can usually break it down to something people already know they can relate to. Um, but some of the tech out there now changes so fast. I'm like, I don't want to spend my time figuring out how to teach it, because in less than 2 months it's going to be, I'd have to come back and do it again. And so I'm always thinking, do I really want to teach this, because it's going to keep changing? And so that for even for me, it's starting to become like, man, listen, it's stuff changes so fast. But I will say this, typically in most cases, when you get a good foundation, a good understanding of how something works, usually the changes are built on top of that foundation, usually. So if you can get the foundational understanding, then the changes aren't so major.
That, that's how it is for me with Facebook ads. Running Facebook ads, if they change and I'm constantly doing them, oh, okay, cool, it's over here, blah blah blah. But there's been times, man, I've ran ads and then I leave it alone, come back 3 months later, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Oh, so now you changed the name of everything. Okay. Yeah, actually, Facebook has done that right now. They're changing the name of a lot of stuff and calling it something else.
Yeah.
If you go into there, because I've been running a lot of ads here the last 3 weeks, and I'm getting notifications from Facebook that says, I don't know, for example, Facebook leads is now called on demand leads or something like that. Or
Yeah.
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Y'all just wanted to make up some random bougie name when it's still a lead form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just what we deal with. As the old saying goes, don't hate the player, hate the game. I'm just gonna play the game. And if they change the rules, just like in football or baseball, basketball, when they change the rules, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to adapt and play the game by the new rules.
Yeah.
We can get mad about it, throw fits, break stuff, which I have anytime. But at the end of the day, it's still what it is. And on that note, I tell people all the time, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. What I found, my dad was a mechanic, and there would be times we would be trying to figure something out, and you think you've done every single thing, and then he said, you know what? I'm just gonna walk away. I'm gonna go sit down, eat dinner or something like that, and then it'll hit him. He'll be like, that's what it is. Let me go back and try this, and voila. So sometimes you just with technology or anything else, anything that, and I consider technology tedious.
Mhm.
Anything that is tedious, sometimes it's in your face what you need to do, but we're looking everywhere else except right there in front of us. So sometimes you just gotta step away, come back, let the mind clear, come back, and you can probably get it.
That old saying, you can't see the forest through the trees when you're
Mm-hmm.
right in the middle of it. I find even when I'm not having trouble with my technology, I need to take regular breaks because because staying with it too long sometimes can cause me to create my own problems because I start going too fast with it, right? So like the other day I was doing a bunch of scheduled posting um for a couple of different groups. And so I would do just so many and then I'd take a quick break. I'd go back and that way it's just easier for me. Um and I also find when I'm doing certain tasks on the computer, I make a lot of notes so that I remember. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. Breaking it up for me helps just stay on track and not self derail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
All right.
Well, I would like to give a resource because I want to make sure people get a lot of, always get a lot of value. But this is something that is inexpensive and by far way more valuable than I think anyone can give credit for. And it's just a book, right? It's a book, 100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozy. Try to get the
Dude,
light.
so let me say this. I gave that to Kathy, and also the same day that you recommended when we talked, when you said that part of, and I was gonna write you about this. He says it in the first chapter. Listen and read at the same time. I was like, Greg just said that. I literally when we had our last meeting, I downloaded that book on Audible while you were still talking. And as soon as the meeting was over, I just started listening to it. So, but here's the issue. I try to listen to it sometimes driving, and chapter 4 is so loaded with information. Dude, I was like, I can't listen to this while I'm driving. I'm gonna have to listen to it 20 times. I was like, I'm gonna have to go home, sit down with a piece of paper, listen to him, and just write. Because when he talks about and I told Kathy this, when he talks about changing one word or two words, like a preposition, off in a headline, he says, I tested get sellers to call you versus how to get sellers to call you. So me and Kathy were using this for some of the mass content stuff that we're using for a panel that I need to talk to you about being on as well. But yeah, and so I love that book. That book is
Well,
it's like a Bible to me for lead generation.
So I would like to take a teaching moment here. So Greg is telling folks that when they are listening to this, they should listen and read at the same time. Minuin points out that he's got to listen, read, and make notes. And so from the teacher perspective that I have, right, you're using different learning modalities when you're doing that. And your best learning modality is that writing because you're including muscle memory when you're doing your writing. And you don't get that if you're typing notes, my friends. You only get that when you actually write out your notes, cursive or printing, however.
Don't start on the cursive, Kathy.
Huh?
Don't start on the cursive.
Okay, I'm just saying, because if you're a certain age, you're writing cursive. If you're a certain age, you're barely printing. But
Some
that's
people couldn't
another
read cursive
topic.
right now.
Um, my point is each of those is a different modality, and when you add in a modality like writing, you're adding that muscle memory, which really embeds that knowledge into you. Just saying.
So let me bring it all together, because you listen and I do listen and read at the same time. I typically can listen, I can turn up the speed and get through a lot of it faster,
Mm-hmm.
but I end up pausing it to take notes. Now, here's where I'm going to bring even better. If because if I'm going to take notes and then it's on paper, it's kind of like, well, where's the paper? I put it on. So if I could do everything, listen, read, and take notes digitally, this is how I would do it. There is a device. Of course, it's being slow. Oh, there it is. So it's called the Remarkable. Have you guys heard of this?
I've heard it, but I've never used it.
So the Remarkable is what they call a paper tablet. It's not lit screen like a like a tablet or a monitor is,
Yeah.
but the technology behind it is so crazy how it writes on you write on it like it was paper, and it can save it as a PDF, it can
Yes.
save it as, it can, turn it to text, like text if you want,
You know
and
what? I think I
organize.
saw this thing maybe last year. They launched it during like almost the holiday time. And I was like, you know what? This thing is awesome. Because I'm
Yeah.
like you. If we go look in my office right now, dude, this stacks of paper all over the place. I've gotten much better about using Google Sheets and just writing and typing into the cloud. But I love this because I'm just old school and I'm a photographic memory. I'm a visual learner. So by writing, it's in my head, and I don't take notes on everything, but um, being an advertiser and a marketer, there's notes on certain pieces that need to be taken, such as the differences in headlines or when it comes to CTAs, call to action about doing that. Well, should you have one on the page or should you have three on the page? Things like that. And Alex talks about this in his book. He says, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but he says something to the nature of 80% of people looking at your ad are brought in from the headline alone.
Yeah.
So if the headline is off, it doesn't matter about the rest of the stuff. It's kind of like me with a boxing gym. I can have the most beautiful, pristine boxing gym in the world, but if nobody knows I exist, what good is it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So anyway, sorry, that was my tidbit on that piece. But that's an awesome book. That's
No,
really
yeah,
awesome.
it's an awesome book. I like it because if you're in a coaching program or you're dealing with a coach or a marketing program, 9 times out of 10 it will not conflict with that thing. He doesn't have his own coaching. He's not trying to siphon people. He's like, listen, once you get to $3 million, if you want us to work together, contact. He said, but until then, use this material to get to that point. And so he's like, and help others by sharing it with others. That's kind of his thing.
Nice.
But it's really good. He breaks it down. He shows you how you can build $1 million business before you even think about ads. He's like, look, you can do this. And he gives you the step by step. Right? And I'll tell you the first step. He's like, people think they don't have leads. He was like, pull out your phone, open up your contacts. How many people in there? Those are all leads. If you don't think you have leads, you got leads in your pocket. You can start right there. Now he said you'll try to, this person's not qualified. He said, but you don't know that because people in life are going through different seasons. You never know when someone will be in a season. He said, so you start there. And then listen, it's a great book. It will show you how to generate leads and how to grow your business. All you have to do is just implement what he says. And it's just broken down to baby food. It's like, here, here, now I'm not going to give you this apple. I'm going to give you this baby food, this apple sauce, so you can get it and go use it. And I highly recommend it for anyone who really wants to grow their business. Definitely get that book. He only has 2 books. This was his second book. His first book was about how to create an offer, and it was awesome as well. And you can get them on Amazon. I know this one is $29 unless there's a Black Friday sale, but get the book. Yeah.
Dude, that book should be $290 because he's got pieces of info in there that would make that money back off the rip.
Yep.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been great. I mean, we shifted on the fly to some stuff that people really are probably having a problem with and didn't understand that they were having a problem with.
Right.
And we also gave them some good insights on lead generation, which at the core of any business, lead generation, even brick and mortar.
Absolutely.
Eric can go open up if they're not on a main street, they're not really going to get anything. So lead generation is the key to everything. And even myself, when I'm frustrated with ads or stuff that's not coming through, I'm like, hey, you got to go back to the lead generation. That's where it all starts. When no leads come in, you're not going to get any conversion, period. So get the leads first, then you can tighten up on the conversion. But you're not going to have any conversions if you don't have any leads.
Yeah. And he was very clear. He was like, you should not stop doing the, once when you get to the point that you start doing ads, you shouldn't stop doing the other stuff. That should always be going on. It should be both the ads and the word left me, but the basic, when you're doing your own reaching out and stuff, you can hire other people to do it, but it shouldn't stop. You should always do both.
That's
Multiple
right.
streams.
Never stop marketing.
Yep.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's
All
I
right,
got for today.
guys.
Greg, I really appreciate it. Kathy, appreciate your time as well.
It's always good seeing you two.
All right. Well, if nothing
Had a
else,
great time.
and just so everybody knows, when you're watching this, it is the official Veterans Day. So thank you to all the veterans out there. We appreciate the service. Side note, we probably need to appreciate it even more here.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Hey, everybody have a good day. REI Duru coming back at you. See you later.
Take care, guys. Thank you.